In the space of 12 hours, Tottenham Hotspur had a total agreement in place between themselves and Sevilla for the signing of Jules Kounde. But the centre-back at this moment in time has rejected and denied and turned down all transfer talks and negotiations in a potential move to White Hart Lane. At the same time, it appears very likely right now that Saul Niguez is opting for a move to Barcelona as part of a swap deal that would see Antoine Griezmann return to Atletico Madrid. Of course, Liverpool Football Club had come to an arrangement with Atletico Madrid over a acceptable asking price. No official bid was made. Some early talks had begun with the representation of Saul Niguez, but no formal offer made or matching the demands of Saul Niguez. And CAMAVINGA to Manchester United, a young player on Man United's list, not a priority this summer for Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, could be off. It has long been since tipped that CAMAVINGA wants to stay in France for at least the next 2 to 3 years. A move to Paris Saint-Germain appears to be materializing. All that and much, much more on the Football Terrace. Hit that like button. Hit the share button. Here we go. Welcome back to the Football Terrace. Good afternoon to each and every single one of you. We're talking Saul Niguez, we're talking CAMAVINGA, we're talking Jules Kounde and his rejection of Tottenham Hotspur. It's been an interesting 24 hours of lots of deals materializing and lots of deals looking to move forward. This is the time of the year where you do start to see the good, the bad, and the indifferent with these transfers. And I have just noticed there's an A missing from CAMAVINGA's name. We will get that updated for you momentarily, ladies and gentlemen. But this is the time of the season. This is the part of the transfer window where you start to see teams get rejected. You start to see deals fall through. You start to see a deal materialize for Club A, and then Club B comes in, swoops in, and takes them away, offers more money, makes better personal terms, offers a better status. So expect to see this. This isn't, I suppose it's bad news for fans that really want particular players, but there's nothing that's happened in the past 12 hours that I would say are abnormal or strange or weird. We're going to start with the Jules Kounde situation because that for me is one that, as much as there's banter being thrown at Tottenham for this, there has to be a sense of realism applied to this deal. Jules Kounde has been on the list of 3 major clubs this summer. Manchester United, who are still looking at him as an option. Chelsea Football Club, who are still looking at him as an option. And Real Madrid as one of the potential replacements for Raphael Varane and Sergio Ramos, who has gone, and Raphael Varane, who could be indeed on his way. So Sevilla coming to an agreement with Tottenham, but Jules Kounde at this moment in time saying no. I can't understand why anybody's shocked about that. There is still the potential and the possibility that one of Man United, Chelsea, and Real Madrid come in for Kounde this summer and make him part of their squad. Now, Tottenham are a decent-sized football club, of course they are, but they pale into insignificance when being compared to Real Madrid, to Chelsea, and to Manchester United. The fact that all 3 of those teams have Champions League football, the fact that Real Madrid are just Real Madrid. They're also in Spain, where he currently lives already. So in terms of the upheaval in his life, it's a lot smaller, and he could move to the biggest club in the world from a lot of people's point of view. So I don't necessarily think him turning down a move to Tottenham is overtly embarrassing. It isn't as though he's turned down Tottenham and he's joined Everton. He's turned down Tottenham and he's joined West Ham. He's turned down turned down Tottenham and he's joined Burnley. This is because there's potential moves to Man United, to Chelsea, and mainly, I think, here to Real Madrid, on which I think has been one of the main and key drivers around him rejecting the opportunity at this moment in time to go to Tottenham Hotspur. In terms of the deal in itself, I mean, 30 million that we read plus Davison Sanchez, it's a good piece of business, really. Spurs will now look towards other centre-backs. There is no doubt about it, but they will keep an eye on this situation. Varane may stay at Real Madrid, and Real Madrid may not have the money to buy him. Chelsea may opt for not buying a centre-back this summer. Manchester United may miss out on Raphael Varane, but end up signing Pau Torres. And then Kounde could be left in a conundrum, really. Do I move now or do I wait another year? The door for Tottenham could reopen itself again. One of the most important things I read in nearly every single report about the rejection today, some conversations I had with some journalists privately, was as of now. As of now, he doesn't want to get into these talks. As of now, he doesn't want to progress with any of with the talks or this deal with Tottenham. That could change. Is it likely? Not right now. 20% chance. 20% chance of this deal starting to materialize and move forward. But I can't understand why anybody would feel that this is, an embarrassment to Tottenham or on a real level. Like, being rejected for those clubs is normal. Is absolutely normal. If he was an 18-year-old starlet with barely any experience who was going to sit on the bench of one of those clubs, then I would say it's a bit of a silly move. But Jules Kounde's next transfer, next move, next deal that he signs is to be one of the main centre-backs at one of the biggest clubs in Europe. When you've got Chelsea, Man United, and Real Madrid looking at you, no disrespect to Tottenham, it's going to be very, very difficult to get that done. Comment here says, Kounde to Tottenham is still on, bro. Don't want you saying. It could still happen, like I've already said. But I think it depends on who else. I think it really, really depends on who else comes in for him. If none of those teams try to sign him and he still wants to leave Sevilla, then yes, it could happen. Things could reopen. But as it stands right now, that deal is not progressing for that particular reason. It's as simple as that. Official Eves Basuma here says United is a joke club. That's a very interesting comment to see at this point. But let's move on to talk about the CAMAVINGA situation. Now, what's interesting is 2 weeks ago on the Done Deal show, Dean Jones told us, 3 weeks ago maybe now, that he spoke to people in France directly about this CAMAVINGA deal, and they all felt that the interest from Manchester United was true. Manchester United would like to sign him, and maybe it was a little bit earlier than they really wanted to. That's very much been firmed up in the last 2 or 3 days. First of all, Peter O'Rourke on the Football Terrace confirming it. There's also multiple reports in the media today about CAMAVINGA not being a priority signing this summer for Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, but CAMAVINGA having two bigger priorities than Manchester United. One of them is to try his best to stay in France for at least another 2 to 3 years. There is a big appetite from him to go and play for Paris Saint-Germain. But of course, the Real Madrids and the Barcelonas have also been looking at this kid for many, many years. And it is thought that they may try and move in for him. And they may not come this summer. It may be next year. So there is the possibility that he stays at Rennes and runs down his contract. Rennes don't want that. They've been trying to get a bidding war in altogether. But a lot of the sound coming out of France right now, and a lot of very respectable publications, the likes of The Athletic, have said that Man United have held tentative talks with the player and with Rennes. He's available at a cut price. United have been tracking him for a little bit of time, but him staying in France or waiting for Real Madrid or Barcelona at this moment in time still seems more likely. United are trying to get the deal done, but they don't see him as a priority right now. Signing a more established CDM is higher up the pecking order. Getting in a new centre-back, as in Varane, is higher up the pecking order. Of course, Sancho's already done, dusted, and over the line. CAMAVINGA would be a brilliant signing to get, but it's a difficult one for Man United. And not even from an element of us not being able to get him and via finances or pursuing him. It's the fact that we're not on the top of his priority list. So it's a deal where I think maybe in the next couple of weeks, we're going to see something more formal come out, and maybe Manchester United are distanced from this deal a little bit more. But right now, it doesn't feel, the fact that we're not prioritizing him and he has priorities above us makes me feel like it's a long shot to get done. I wish he was coming to Man United. He's a tremendous talent. There's no doubt about it. But we will see what happens there. Nick Morris here says, Kounde is after Champions League, and that's why he rejected Tottenham. I think that's what you're trying to say there. Chelsea is a graveyard for strikers. Haaland shouldn't go there, is what Annie Bro says. Comment here says United don't deserve any French players after the treatment of Paul Pogba by the fans and the media. Well, Manchester United Football Club are not accountable for what the media in this country does. So yeah, by that same standard, no club in England deserves any players, which I think is a ridiculous notion. Equally, you can't punish the whole Man United fan base for a loud minority that give Pogba too much crap. The same as you can't punish every Man United fan, for the idiots that abuse Ollie, or the idiots that abuse Rashford, or the idiots that abuse McTominay. You're always going to get these small percentages. So I think to say Man United don't deserve any more French players. How about how we treated Eric Cantona? How about the love and admiration players such as him and Patrice Evra have amongst the Man United fan base? I think that's a bad take, to be honest with you. But I suppose it's fashionable at the minute to say a whole group of people don't deserve something because of the actions of a few. We see this all the time from multiple areas, and I just feel like it's a very divisive way to look at things, to be honest. Let's all laugh at Liverpool, is what Daniel says here. Well, let's talk about the Liverpool situation. I want to address this because I feel really sorry for Liverpool fans. I feel genuinely sorry for Liverpool fans. And if I was one, I would be tremendously frustrated at the Saul Niguez situation. And this is me talking from how highly I rate Saul Niguez. So towards the latter end of last week, Liverpool spoke with Atletico Madrid, and they, again, semantics are important here to some people, but they agreed on a fee, or they were made aware of a fee that they deemed to be acceptable, which means the same bloody thing. I love the way people try and word it to make it sound like they didn't agree something, but they knew they could pick the player up for around 40 million. That was doable. Very, very doable indeed. The transfer was fine. The two clubs could have come to an arrangement. Atletico Madrid were in the process, and over the last few days have confirmed the signing, of course, of Rodrigo de Paul. So they knew there was going to be an option for them to be able to move him on, and they were trying to move Saul Niguez on. Big wages he's on. They were trying to lower their wage bill. That's been the stumbling block for Liverpool here. They haven't triggered the move. They haven't gone in. They spoke to the representatives of Saul. The representatives of Saul Niguez had confirmed this to a number of sources, including our very own Peter O'Rourke, who spoke to them on Friday last week before he came on to the Football Terrace to confirm Liverpool had that genuine interest. They knew how much it would cost. They deemed that to be within their price range and for that to be an acceptable amount of money to bid. But Liverpool were never going to put a formal bid in until the player agreed to join them. Kind of like the Tottenham example is almost testament as to why clubs don't do that. Clubs very much hate to put in these official bids before they've agreed personal terms, because if the player then says no, it's a very public rejection. Spurs are getting a lot of banter today, a lot of abuse today, a lot of frustration from fans because it's out there in the public domain that an official bid went in. They did the transfer first without sorting out the personal elements with the player. So Liverpool were trying to be smart here and cute, and they have been, because no official bid has gone in. They can officially walk away from this. And this is what's going to happen. It won't be long until the tier 1 Liverpool journalists start feeding into the fan base of Liverpool that you weren't really in for him. You made tentative inquiries. You never offered him a contract, and you never made an official. You never offered him an official contract, and you never offered him an official bid, which is all a play on words. Saul Niguez told Liverpool Football Club what he wanted to join. Liverpool wanted to sign him. It does appear that Liverpool have walked away from this transfer. That I would agree with, because they didn't want to pay Saul Niguez the salary that Barcelona are going to give him. He was on 300,000 euros a week at Atletico Madrid. The majority of that is pretty much going to be matched by Barcelona in his deal to go to Barcelona, with Antoine Griezmann going in the other direction. If I was a Liverpool fan, and I'm basing this purely on my admiration for the player Saul Niguez, I would be highly frustrated right now. Yes, there's conversations. I've heard linked with £70 million moves for Barella today. I'm thinking, hang on, you could have got Saul Niguez for 40, and then the £30 million additional that you're going to pay for Barella, that would cover Saul Niguez's salary. Crazy to me. I don't see anybody signing Barella, in my opinion. If I end up being wrong, shoot me down, but I can't see anyone signing him. You've got the Yuri Tillemans deal. Liverpool are being priced out of that by Leicester City. Highly unlikely that Leicester City are going to let him go this summer, although Yuri Tillemans wants to join. There's John McGinn links. I don't necessarily believe in them. There's Renato Sanchez, who's quite cheap, but definitely injury prone. So Liverpool are working on multiple deals. They are looking to try and sign a midfielder. Of course, a Genie one-out replacement this summer. But they had the perfect opportunity here, in my opinion, to bring in one of the best central midfielders in Europe. One of the most underrated central midfielders in Europe. And they've walked away because he was too expensive in terms of salary. That's the long and the short of it, as far as I can see. Barcelona are about to pick up a really good player. And as it stands right now, unless there is a dramatic change in the next few days and Liverpool actually come in and say, we want to make this offer. Saul Niguez, his representatives have confirmed this again to Peter O'Rourke yesterday, that Liverpool were interested. It was almost certain that he was going to leave Atletico Madrid this summer. He was very much up for a move to the Premier League. He was very excited about the prospect of coming to play here. Liverpool, of course, made the interest. He would have signed for Liverpool if the deal could have been struck between him and Liverpool Football Club. Liverpool Football Club just didn't trigger it. And, it is what it is. So when you see this from the Liverpool tier ones, that Liverpool weren't rejected, you're right, because they never made an official bid. And they never even put a proper offer in for Saul Niguez. They just didn't want to pay him the demands that he put forward. And what this really comes down to was it a rejection? Were we beaten to the player? I think all of that is almost a fugazi here. It's fans looking at it and saying, should we or should we not have paid him the £230,000 to £240,000 per week to bring him to Anfield? That's the conversation here that should be had. Not were we or were we not rejected. That's immaterial. It's should we have tried harder to get the player is what I would be focusing on. Man United miss out on Raphael Varane because of £50,000 per week in salary. I'm personally going to be angry about it because I think he's worth whatever, the going rate of a player of his standard. And I think Saul Niguez would have, I praised him yesterday when Liverpool were heavily linked with him. I praised him on Friday when Liverpool were heavily linked with him. I'm not going to change my mind now because it looks like he's going elsewhere. He is a tremendous, tremendous talent. I was jealous that Liverpool were getting him. And if I was a Liverpool fan right now, I would be highly frustrated at the thought of him going somewhere else. But I do want your thoughts and I do want your feelings on this on all three of these transfer situations right now. Ali here says, Terry, it isn't Liverpool Football Club, it's FSG who did this. Well, FSG are Liverpool Football Club. They own Liverpool Football Club. FSG make these decisions. So I'll call them FSG, but for me, they're the same. Right now, the Glazers and Man United are the same. When Man United make a bad decision, that's the Glazers making a bad decision. But they rep the club. They rep the badge. They are you. When you win something, it's Liverpool. When you do something bad, it's Liverpool. And I think that would be my view on that, my friend. A comment here says, Saul is definitely not dreadful. I really wonder about some of these football fans' football knowledge when I see comments. Somebody in the comments said he was dreadful. Oh, wow. That's really unfortunate that somebody put that out there. Let's go through some more of these comments here. Starlord said, I don't think Pogba wants to be at United anymore. The only reason he is because he's waiting for a club to be able to pay his wages. Starlord, I mean, that could be right. I mean, you could be absolutely true when it comes. That could be spot on. Who knows? We have to wait and see what happens. We have to wait and see what happens. Lord Vivishwan here says, I'm frustrated that we are not getting Sal. Another opportunity missed. How many times have FSG let us down? And I agree with you. Look, it depends on who else you go and sign. But this is about money. And I can almost tell you what's going to be said by the tier ones. No bid was made. We weren't really interested. There might have been some inquiries. We never discussed personal terms officially. And it'll always be, there was no official this, no official that, no official this, no official that. Because it was all done through intermediaries or light touch contact with representatives. So it's sad, really, the way I see Liverpool fans get treated by FSG when it comes to these, and Liverpool Football Club when it comes to a lot of these deals, because the lack of transparency is there. And we hear the same thing over and over again. If you don't sign anybody big this summer, I'm sure they're going to spin with we've got something massive planned for next year, actually. COVID settings, but next year we're going to kill it. You can just, it almost like it prints itself now. It's almost like it prints itself. Let's do some more comments. Franklin here says, you told Liverpool fans it was a done deal, Terry. Some of the blame has to go on you. Yeah, I made Liverpool Football Club not offer him a contract. Absolutely, you're right, Franklin. As I said, there was a deal that was agreed between Atletico Madrid and Liverpool. Ati said this is how much we would want. Liverpool said we're willing to pay that. Liverpool then had to go and work out the personal terms. I think Grizz Khan confirmed something very similar to this as well. They didn't agree the personal terms. At no point in any of our threads on Twitter or any of our videos on YouTube did we state that this was a guarantee to go through, that personal terms were agreed, and that it wasn't difficult. Peter O'Rourke didn't come on the show and say that. So my view to you would be this. Don't listen to one part of the story. Listen to everything. Listen to the opinions on the back of it and everything else surrounding it. Because at no point did we say this deal was close to being complete or would complete or was a guarantee to go through. I actually also said that I wasn't even sure that Liverpool were going to offer the money. And I felt like Liverpool might go for a cheaper option. So I'm sorry if you feel like I'm to blame, Franklin. I feel, listen, if you feel like that, then I'm not apologizing because that's not what I did. But I'm sorry you feel that way. And we move on. Reports are saying that Liverpool are interested in Barella. Yeah, I read about the Liverpool links to Barella. Sort of 70 million euro offer, I heard. I don't know. As in, the links are there. Is he going to leave? Is he going to come to the Prem? It's a lot more expensive than the Saul Niguez deal. I mean, let's weigh that up, right? Let's just see what Barella is on now, salary-wise. I want to work this out, okay? Barella salary, right? Unless you walked away from Saul Niguez because Barella was a better option, okay? So currently he's earning around the equivalent of one website here said he's on about 80 grand a week. So let's say he comes to Liverpool and he gets an increase to 100,000. Let's put him on £100,000 a week at Liverpool, okay? So he's going to cost 30 million more in transfer fee than Saul Niguez, okay? So Saul Niguez was going to cost 40 mil, plus he wanted around, let's say he's on 240 a week. 240 a week, times that by 52, 12 million a year, times that by 4-year contract, it's 49 million, plus the 40 mil to bring him in, okay? So that would be about 89 million pounds over a 4-year period for Saul Niguez, okay? 70 million they're quoting for Barella. Plus, you're going to put him on like 5.2 million a year in salary, okay? So you're going to put that over, we'll do 5.2 over a 4-year period as well, just so we make sure we get this all done right. It's about 20 million. It's about 90 mil. So the cost of both players, this is why you've got to start looking at net spend is fake. Saul Niguez and Barella are going to cost about the same over a 4-year contract period. They're going to cost about the same because the transfer fee is a lot higher for Barella. According to the report, Liverpool might be, look, if Liverpool can negotiate the price for Nicola Barella down and bring him in for 40 million as well, pay him 100 grand a week, then it's an absolute snip. But then FSG have then done the right thing. It's just whether or not you think they're going to be able to actually do that and, actually deliver it. That would be the point I would say. Monkey King here says, Terry, it is what it is. We move. I'm gutted. Yes. Is it the end of the world? No, we will be up there regardless. And I think that's also fair. I mean, what I would say to Liverpool fans is you are working on other deals. This isn't the be all and the end all. We have a first super chat of the show here from Selection. They says, still think Liverpool are in for him. Read somewhere that Barca want 15 million in the swap deal. Transfer window still open. People just not patient. Well, we'll see. I mean, the reports this afternoon are saying that it's off. I haven't spoke to anybody personally. I'm simply going based on the reports. Our tweet confirms that. We're going on somebody else's report as opposed to saying we've spoken to X, to Y, and to Z. I mean, I briefly reached out to a few people that just said they've not heard any updates their end. So I'm just simply giving you the news, but let's see what happens in that space. Let's have a little look here. Let's have a look. Terry, it's only Liverpool that worry about wages. You never hear Man United, City, or other clubs do that. I don't know. I think most clubs look at salaries. Salaries often are more important in terms of the negotiations than or more of or sometimes more pivotal in the negotiations and the transfer fee, because sometimes the salary over a 5-year period can be more expensive than the transfer fee. So plus image rights, plus bonuses and everything else on top. So let's have a little look here at a few more of these comments that are coming through. We can actually share the link now for you guys to phone up and for you to have your say. Really would like you to do that. Call in now. Give us a buzz. Give us a buzz. Get yourself on the air. Would love to hear from you, wonderful, wonderful people. Truly would. I'm going to pin that comment to the live feed as well. So if you want to come on and have your say, please feel free to. Want to hear your thoughts and your feelings on these transfer stories from today. The tier ones are paid for media mouthpieces for FSG propaganda. A lot of people say that, to be honest. A lot of people do say that. But yeah, we'll see. We'll see. We'll see. We'll see. We'll see how that transpires and moves forward. We're going to go to some calls here. Also want some more of your super chats to come in, but make sure that like button has been smashed today, people, to support the Football Terrace. You may not like all the news that's coming out, but we can't help that. It's what's being reported today. All three of the stories we're reporting on are from media outlets and not from the Football Terrace. It's not our news. We're aggregating this. We're giving you the chance to speak about it. So support us in that pursuit. Yeah. Let's go to a few more of these comments here. Is Franklin still going on here? Someone here says, well, someone responded to Franklin saying, to be honest, he did. To be honest, he did, but I guess the source wasn't great. Just checked, but you're acting like he said it was completely done. At no point, I think the first video we did on this was on Friday. Just to round this up, on Friday, and we said fee agreed, and the fee between the two clubs was agreed. That's something I'll stand by, was given. At no point, as the Football Terrace said, that it was a completed deal and that personal terms were done. Done deal between the two football clubs? Yes, cool. That may have come out my mouth, but it was. The Atletico Madrid said, we want X amount. Liverpool said, we're willing to pay that, but we have to go and speak to the player. That's it. Franklin, my friend, you got to get over it. You're making up lies about me now to make yourself feel better, when really you should be focusing upon why your deal didn't go through. I think that's a bit more important to yourself, buddy. But that's the last I'm going to say on it, my buddy, because I don't sit on here and lie. I don't sit on here and make things up in any way, shape, or form. We either quote the stories we're taking it from, or we get the journalists on here to speak about it. It's down to you what you want to say. Down to you how you want to react to it, my friend. But to blame us, imagine it. The reason we didn't get Saul Niguez is partly the Football Terrace's fault. What? That's a madness. That is absolutely crazy. Absolutely crazy. Yes. No, I didn't lie to you. A fee was agreed. Absolutely. I know I didn't lie to you. Liverpool and Atletico agreed on a fee. But the personal terms weren't agreed. And until the personal terms are agreed, a deal can't be completed. What I did say at the time, I said it's a very strange way for Liverpool to do it, because normally what clubs do is sort out personal terms first before they speak to clubs, to try and avoid situations like Kounde and Tottenham today. Literally, that's it. I actually don't even know why I'm explaining myself any further. Anyone that's I'm probably just talking to trolls here. I'm not going to do it anymore, because you're literally like, it's crazy. A few people saying that's not a done deal. That's what I call a done deal. Listen to, how long have you watched the Terrace? Done deals between the two clubs, personal terms between the two. When both come together, it's a completed deal. That's it. I'm very open about my interpretations. If Man United and Real Madrid do a deal today, that's the done deal part. The deal for the transfer is done. Personal terms are separate. When both come together, it's a completed deal. That's it. It's really not hard to follow. Keep up. Keep up, people. Keep up. Some super chats here that I got to go to. Neil says, is the Saul Niguez deal dead? Can it be revived, or is there no chance? I'm going off of what I've read today. So I've not spoke to anybody. I've not spoke to any journalists about this. We will, of course, have Dean Jones on tomorrow to go through this in some more detail. But it does appear that the situation between Atletico Madrid and Barcelona, and of course a swap deal, which is very rare normally between Antoine Griezmann and Saul Niguez, looks pretty much done. It feels like Barcelona have moved very, very quickly indeed with this deal. And you know what's crazy? I remember talking to Said Waleed, the agent that's been on the show a few times, and he basically said that once an official bid gets made by a club and is accepted, as long as personal terms can be agreed, 24 hours is generally all it takes to actually complete the deal. What takes a lot of time is getting things like personal terms and the done deal between the clubs agreed on. And it appears Atletico Madrid, who want to get rid of Saul, and Barca, that need to get rid of Griezmann, have come to a conclusion very, very quickly indeed. This could be a case of Liverpool not prioritizing Saul Niguez and thinking we've got other options we'd prefer that maybe are cheaper, or they've dragged their heels and been caught out, which also happens. It depends on what you want to believe. For me, I've not had anyone say either of those things are true, but it's going to be one of the two. Either Liverpool have said, nah, we'll look elsewhere, or they've taken too long and Barca have slipped in and gone, boom, we're having him. Can it be revived? So Liverpool will have to act very, very quickly and make a very, very good offer in. Absolutely. Let's go to, we had another super chat here. This is from Brighton and Ives Basuma. He says, I can't wait to see Kante and Pogba at Arsenal. That is the weirdest super chat we've ever had on the Football Terrace, but thank you very, very much indeed. Thank you very, very much, Lee. Thank you very, very much, Lee, indeed. I appreciate that. Here we go. Let's go to a few more of these comments here. Actually, no, let's go to our first caller. We're going to go to Tom. Tom Little's on the air with us now. Tom, welcome back to the terrace, mate. Give me your thoughts on the Saul Niguez news. Thank you.
I said it when you first revealed that a fee had been agreed. I said I wouldn't be surprised if it didn't go through because of our owners, and shock how it hasn't went through. Do I, to the same personal terms, I agree we shouldn't pay him 300 grand a week, but at the same time, we're not going to keep challenging for league titles by not paying over 200 grand a week for world-class players. People love this model, but think it's going to work forever. It's not. That's the harsh reality in it. We're going to have to start paying bigger wages for world-class players. Otherwise, we're going to lose out like we have done today. You know.
Yeah, I absolutely have to agree with you on that. I feel, let's see what else you do. So right now, I agree with you. Liverpool could shock us all and pull off some tremendous business and pay good wages, and Basuma could work out to be a better signing. Let's just say that happens. I just feel like when I look at now look, Timo Werner is probably not a great example because he hasn't done well at Tottenham, hasn't done well at Chelsea. But at the time, I think last summer was almost like the straw that broke the camel's back for Liverpool fans, where they were like, can we keep defending the prop? Can we keep defending the same old tired excuses? Because you know, by the way, what's going to be written about this deal, don't you?
It's already been written. It's already been written.
And then what will happen is when you then sign a player, I can almost guarantee you a Man United
scouting them since under-9s football, probably.
Yeah, scouting them forever. There'll be a we got him in front of, and they'll mention a massive rival, a Man United, a Man City, an Everton, a Chelsea. They'll mention that in there. It's almost like they have the same news article, the same words, and they just scratch out names of clubs and players and like copy and paste it in. That's how it's got with the dealings. And for me, I'm just at a stage where I'm like, see, when I was talking to Dean about this, Dean said that a lot of the journalists close to Liverpool, they want to protect the club, so they do that. But it's when information starts being leaked by foreign press and by foreign agents that it becomes exposed, because they don't have the same love or loyalty to Liverpool that a local journalist from Merseyside may have. And I just feel sorry, like I said all along, I don't care because it's Liverpool Football Club, but I care about the fans. I care about how fans are treated, and I see the disappointment in Liverpool supporters who, you were all told you did this new deal with Nike and it was going to change the face of the world. And now you're refusing to pay top-class players their salaries. It doesn't make... I know there's been COVID, but everybody else is paying them. So why not you? I don't understand it.
Neither do I. And then I'm just seeing people go, Tielemans, he'll be better. No, because Leicester wants 70 million. Tielemans is a good player. No, in no world is Tielemans worth 70 million pounds. If we get Tielemans for 70 million pounds, we can put our name right at the top of that list of teams Leicester have fleeced, because he's not worth 70 million. This was a world-class player for 40 million pounds, and we've decided we're gonna hold off. For who? Who else are we gonna get for a similar price that's on the pedigree of Saul Niguez? No one.
And Youri Tielemans is currently on £120,000 a week at Leicester. So he is not moving to Liverpool without a pay rise. So let's just say it goes up by 20 grand a week. You're then looking at £140,000 a week, which is, yes, it's a lot less than but I think you could have come to an arrangement with Saul Niguez, got him on 200 grand, right?
Yeah.
But you stick this guy on a 5-year deal, you're looking at 7.2 million a year. So you're looking at salary of around 36 or 37 million, plus the 70 million pound fee they want. This is a deal that's over 100 million pound of an investment. That's more expensive by nearly 15 million pounds than Saul Niguez was. That's if you pay Saul Niguez the salary he's on now. And do you get my point? It's almost, this is what will happen though if you do it. I'm not saying maybe Youri Tielemans is the number one target, but the way it will get spun is, we just weren't prepared to pay those astronomical salaries. I'm like, but the deal was just the same, was cheaper because the fee was so much lower. It was around 40 to 50 million euros across the 4 or 5 press news outlets that released the story about the fees. And the 2 agents I spoke to, they said between 40 and 50 million euros. So it's cheaper. It's most expensive. It was around 42 million. Like it's just crazy. Just crazy to me because personally, I think Saul Niguez is a superior player to Youri Tielemans. That's just my thoughts.
100%. You know, it's back as well. It's this whole sell to buy thing. We need to sell our players first. Sound. But don't try and ask them for £20 million for a Divock Origi, because then you're just never going to sell them. So you'll never get to the buy stage. No one's paying £20 million for Origi. You're going to be hard pressed to find people who pay 15 for Minamino, 13 for Nico Williams, 15 for Nat Phillips. It's not like before COVID where clubs were willing to risk this type of money. No, they want reliable stuff. We're not going to get £20 million for Divock Origi, so why are we holding out for it? Because if we'll hold out for it, we won't sell him, then we'll get the whole PR spin of he's in Jurgen Klopp's plans, he's performing really well in training, he's going to be reintegrated with the squad. We'll get another season like last season where he scores 1 goal in the EFL Cup. That's it. And then we're supposed to be told, we're not going to stand in his way if we try and sell him. It's just, we're supposed to be a club challenging for titles, and all the clubs around us look like they're showing more ambition, look like they're willing to take risks. You win big by taking risks, not by playing it safe for 5 years and hoping for a bit of luck. And until FSG realise that, we won't reach our potential.
Mate, do you know what it is? I feel like you will, but it's a slower process. I think Liverpool's model is you may spend big every now and then, but it's 30-40 million pound players up to 100,000, 120,000 maybe pounds a week in salary, unless the fees are a lot cheaper. Someone like a Thiago. Thiago is a great example. I think he's going to have a much better season next year. He's on quite a lot of money. You would never have bought him if he had 3 years left on his contract and was cost 60. There's no way you would have paid him his salary and a 50-60 million pound deal. You offset, which is exactly why I think the Youri Tielemans and Barella links are weird to me, because those deals are more expensive. And the reason they're weird to me is because net spend isn't fucking real. So clubs don't look at it and go, one transfers 40 and one transfers 80. But the salary element is lower. That isn't what they look at. They look at the total cost of the deal. And yes, so I'm losing myself in thought here. Yes, the deal for Youri Tielemans is more expensive, but people will say, but the salary is much lower. But work it out over the lifetime of the contract. Yuri Tillemans is more expensive because clubs don't have a transfer kitty and a wage and a salary kitty like a computer game. It's just taken out of the income of the football club. Do you know what I mean? And most of it isn't even paid out in lump sums anyway. It's paid on a monthly or annual basis for these salaries. So it's it drives me insane. You know, news outlets have got to educate fans more about how these things work, mate. But I get your disappointment. I really, really do. Tom, we'll speak to you again soon. Top man. Thank you. Thank you very, very much indeed. Next on the show, we're going to get Chris M, Liverpool fan, back with us today. Smash that like button for me, please, ladies and gentlemen. Really important to the terrace that you get that done. Make sure you're subscribing as well. We are closing in on 200,000 subscribers. I'm not actually too sure where we stand right now. I haven't checked all day or since this morning. 150. We are 150 new subscribers away from hitting the 200,000 mark. Now, I'm pretty sure you all can help us get there today. I'm pretty sure you all can help us get to that point by moving forward, by hitting that button and then also subscribing and turning on that bell notification as well. We're going to actually put this up on the screen here so you can see. Can we do it during this live stream? I don't know if we can do it during the live stream, but it would be amazing if we could. We're closing in on 200,000 subscribers, which is absolutely amazing. And you know, I was looking at the statistics of the terrace the other day, and one of the things that impressed me the most and made me most humbled is the amount of unique viewers that we have. So we might do 3 videos in a day. So in the last 2 days, our videos have averaged around 20,000 per view, but it's about 18,000 unique people for each video, which is mind-blowing to me. You know, for our Liverpool fans don't tune in for our Man United news generally. You know, our Chelsea fans don't tune in for Tottenham news. But we have a really good base from all fan clubs, and it's just, honestly, it's the most humbling feeling to me ever that we've been able to do that. So a massive thank you to each and every single one of you that has made that possible for the Football Terrace. We're going to go to Chris M next and get him on the show. Chris, welcome back. Disappointing news at the moment regarding Saul Niguez. Give me your thoughts, mate.
No, I wasn't expecting to come here. Just the day before we had that conversation about Saul, man. No, it's just disappointing, isn't it? It's the same cycle, you know, with FSG. There's the wages. Yeah, we were in for him, but they're gonna say we weren't in for him. It's just I'm gonna quote you, one of your tweets that you did just a few hours ago. Give me a second. Saul Niguez was excited by the idea of joining Liverpool. How many times have we heard that sort of line from other sources? This player was excited to join Liverpool, but there's always an excuse with Liverpool. There's always an excuse. And that's the just disappointing thing about it. It's always the wages. If it's not the wages, it's the price, is the overall price of how much the player is going to cost. It's just a cycle. And then we're probably going to forgive it because maybe we're being too hasty here. Maybe they've got a plan, but then you don't get someone like Saul Niguez often. You know what I'm saying? He has the experience, he has the skill, and he has the availability. I don't think any of the signings we're going to get this window. I may be wrong, and I'm going to put my hands up on it, but I don't think any signing we're going to get this window in that midfield section will have all 3 of those elements. And that's why it's just disappointing that Saul Niguez, we just let this one slip, because it's definitely about the wages. And I feel like that's the reason you said it's 60% yesterday, because it was always going to be about the wages, not about the price. It's always about one or the other with Liverpool, and it's just disappointing, man. It just is.
Yeah, as you say, and I think for me, what's really disappointing to kind of see is the fact that, excuse me, it's people are almost taking out their frustrations on the wrong people. I've seen journalists berated. I've seen people kicking off with each other on socials, and it's like, I think you need to look a little bit. I think people need to look a little bit closer to home with what the problem is here, if that makes sense. You know, the problem here isn't a journalist giving information that he was, you know, that he reliably sourced. That was given
of course. Yeah.
You know, it's to do with the fact that Liverpool haven't acted. And you know, as I said yesterday, when I said the sort of 60%, it was the thing that was making me feel uneasy as a football fan towards this deal going through was that almost the reluctancy for Liverpool to offer it. You think, well, you spoke to Atletico, so you're interested. That tells me there's genuine interest, whether people want to deny it or not. Even when you hear this BS from clubs where they say things like, oh, we didn't make a big inquiry, we just sort of like made a tentative one. Well, that means you still want him. You don't make a tentative inquiry about someone you don't want, right? And now he may not be your number one priority, But at the same time, you've made more of an inroad into Saul Niguez than any other player in the Prem, any other midfielder you're linked with at this moment in time. So I just don't like the nonsense. And I understand that there are some clubs. Okay, I understand there are some clubs that like to keep their transfer news in house, and I understand Liverpool do that. I genuinely do. However, I just sometimes sit there and think to myself, why don't you wake up and smell the coffee that you're being lied to? It's it's a bit like last year with the whole Arsenal thing, and Aubameyang signed. It's all about the Arteta pull, the Arteta friendship, the Arteta leadership. No, it was the £350,000 a week salary that was the major tipping point. Now, don't be embarrassed by that. Say it what it is. Football players, you look at the situation now. Chelsea winning the Champions League and having Tuchel there has, of course, helped to convince Haaland that it's a club he'd like to play for. But also the fact that they're one of the only clubs so far to say, we will pay you those big wage demands. He goes, all right, well, you're serious, Dan. I'm up for that. These are professional people. They're attracted to the financial element like they God well damn should be as well. Why should Saul Niguez take a 100,000, 150,000 euro a week pay cut? Why? Why should he? When he's got Barcelona interested in him as well, when Chelsea made inquiries into his representatives, why does he need to do that? He's never going to do it. It's just cheap. It's cheapness, brother. 100%.
No, our fans will find excuses though about, whoever else we get after, he might be the signing we need, or he may not be the signing we need. It doesn't even matter with these sort of fans, because they're always going to find an excuse on, this is a FSG masterclass. Oh my gosh, this is the perfect signing that we need, and it probably won't be. It's just disappointing because Saul Niguez is someone we desperately needed in terms of everything that Gini Wijnaldum did. He could have done it and possibly more. And we're just going to let this slip because of wages. Is always the same excuse one way or another. And that's why I'm disappointed. That's why Tom was disappointed. Your previous caller is just, we're used to this. We're used to this. And the fans that back FSG, this ain't going to change their opinions because they have too much credit in the bank in their eyes to see the truth that these guys just don't want to give the wages. They don't want to go outside of the norm. And they're okay with that. They're okay with a trophy once every 5 years. And maybe that's just what we have to come to terms with as Liverpool fans that want success every year.
And maybe that's what it is, mate. Maybe is that real? Maybe this summer could be that realization of this is just how we're run. This is how we operate. And every 4 or 5 years, you're gonna celebrate and enjoy things and the whatnot. Christo, great call though, mate. Thank you very, very much.
Yeah, no worries, man. Thanks for having me on.
I understand why Liverpool FSG have so much credit in the bank. They won the first Premier League ever and first league title in 30 years. They won a Champions League. They're playing beautiful football. They're an excellent team. I do understand it. But with the direction that the Chelseas and the Cities are going in, I think they need to spend more. There's no doubt about that. There's a question here saying, Terry, what do you think of Chiesa to Chelsea for 100 million? Definite inquiry went in, which I think was a shock to everybody. Definite inquiry went in. Juve have turned it down. Someone actually called me out and was like, nah, so you're wrong, Terry, because Juve have only got him on loan. It's like, no, they've got him on a 2-year loan deal with an obligation to buy, which means if anybody else comes into, which means nobody else can buy him now from Fiorentina, because an obligation to buy also stops the current owner of the transfer card being able to sell him to anybody else. So technically, officially he doesn't belong to Juve, but technically he does, because Fiorentina can't sell him to anybody else. So I can't see Juve saying yes, and I can't see Chiesa wanting to leave right now, if I'm being perfectly honest. Why would it's good show of intent. What I would say is this, though: if they're putting £100 million in for Chiesa, they definitely got that money for Haaland, bro. That money for Haaland is there. I think what's also interesting about the Haaland situation, someone sent a quote into one of my group chats where it was like, Minarella was asked around Haaland to Chelsea, and he said there's nothing to say. Again, people keep saying to me that the Haaland situation reminds them of Sancho last year. I think that's such a bad take. Most informed people last year on the Sancho move were like, can't see it. Doesn't feel like it's going to happen. There's no news here. The Fjortoffs, the Forks, the Fabrizios, the continental superstars in the media just were like, nah. basically said, no, can't see it happening. There's no movement. Nothing's going to be done. Have you noticed how jovial they are with the Haaland situation? There's jokes going around. There's Dortmund don't want to sell. There's no deadline, but 150 mil could do it. Their approach, their writing, their words, their tone towards these deals this season are night and day compared to the way they were speaking about Jadon Sancho last year. So if I was a Chelsea fan right now, I would be very excited, maybe quietly excited, sitting in my bedroom. It's weird, but that's what I would be saying. Next on the show, we're going to go to long time no speak. Leaf is with us here. Leaf, Spurs rejected for Kounde. Give me your thoughts, mate.
Well, that's not entirely true because there are 3 tier 1 journalists all saying completely different things. So basically, last night Di Marcio said the bid was accepted, 30 million plus Sanchez, and now it's up to Kounde to consider. In the morning, Marca said that is true, and Kounde rejected us. And then, like 2 hours ago, Fabrizio Romano tweeted and said that there's not even a bid yet. So I don't know what to think. Did we bid for him? Did he say no? Is he just waiting? Romano said he didn't reject, he's just waiting for an offer to come. So I don't know.
Yeah. So again, what's interesting is semantics here, Leaf. I would say maybe Tottenham's bid wasn't an official bid. Maybe Tottenham's bid was via an intermediary to say, listen, would 30 mil plus Sanchez get agreed to? Intermediary phones up, says, would it be agreed to? Yes, it would be. But you need to speak to the player first to see whether he wants to come. Well, reach out to the player's agent. The player's agent says no. So therefore, officially, Spurs can report back into the media. We didn't make a bid. Show us where we made a bid. There'll be no email from Spurs to Sevilla bidding for the player. That's the problem for me, though, when it comes to the PR nonsense. I don't want to hear any of that. If it's via an intermediary or it's direct to the club, for me, it's a bid. You're doing the work. So it's an interesting one. Can you see Kounde coming? Do you think it's something that you think could happen?
I mean, I am like, why not? Honestly, people saying that we don't have Champions League football, but so Arsenal didn't have Champions League football, and they got Partey, who was at his prime in Atletico Madrid. Champions League football is not always what decides. Kounde has reached a ceiling with Sevilla. They're not going to go higher than 4th. They're not going to win the Champions League. They're not going to push further. Sevilla are in huge financial doubts, especially this summer. Their team is actually getting worse. They sold some of their best players. We can attract him with a project, but I think what's important is that the fact that we bid for him and that we're actually going for our top target, that's good news at least. So it means that our second and choice targets would be easier to get.
Potentially, yeah. And look, I think something that Fabrizio did say today is that there's no real optimism between all the parties that are involved right now. Leaf, listen, great call. Be good to speak to you again soon. Top man. Thank you very much indeed. Some more breaking news as it speaks right now. This doesn't come from anyone that I'm speaking to. I don't really speak to very many people outside the journalists that we have on the show. More Raphael Varane to Man United news. This has come from Alexis Bernard, who's a verified journalist from Portugal, who claims that Raphael Varane wants to leave Real Madrid and join Man United. If United match his asking price, everything will be fine. I have to be honest with you. It looks so done. Like the Varane deal. If Man United miss out on Varane now, honest to God, I don't think I'm going to be able to come on camera. I ain't claiming it's like I'm only going by what I've read. I mean, the transfer is certainly on. We tweeted out the other day. With that, by the way, green ticks on the football terrace mean transfer on. Okay, transfer complete is going to be a signed emoji. They're pinned. I've actually done it now. I'm pinning the damn things to my Twitter. So nobody, you're misleading us. You're misleading. No, if you don't read, that's on you, bruv. Do you know what I mean? Someone actually messaged me again, but why don't you do it this way, right? This is how I would do it. My brother ain't your channel. Like, why have I got to do it how you want it to be? Do you know what I mean? You may not fuck your wife out, I would, but I ain't going to tell you how to do it, bruv. Do you know what I mean? Jesus Christ. Terry, do it my way. No, these are the emojis I like using. I don't care what they really mean. I use, you know what I mean? God, I'm sorry. Just for full disclosure, I'm not going to sleep with anyone's wife. Just in case, oh, what's Terry doing? I'm not going to do that. It's a joke I want to say, but I can't say it. I can't. Hold yourself down, Terry. Hold it down. People, I know there's one troll that keeps coming back with different names. We can keep blocking, but you know the best way to get rid of trolls? Just ignore them. Every time I see somebody highlight or talk about a troll, they multiply like bacteria. Ignore, they disappear. Just ignore, they disappear. Trust me. Now, I've said ignore so disappear, so you'll now see an increase from them to go, I won't disappear if you ignore me, but you will. The only reason trolls troll is for attention. It releases serotonin, and it's how they get a kick out of the day. Ignore them, they go away because they're not getting the buzz that they need. They want infamy. Don't give it to them. Trust me. Plus, the mods will do their jobs. So, yes. When will the bid be for Haaland? No idea. Nobody has any idea when the bid will come in because there's no way Chelsea would really reveal that information. There's probably only 2 or 3 people in the world that know that information. Not even Fabrizio gets that information. We'll all know when it happens. Monsor says, is a swap deal enough for Barca to get Saul? Well, I have read a few reports and people have put stuff in the comments that Barca also want 15 mil on top as well. Blah, blah, blah. We'll see. And look, I responded. I do think that the situation with them signing new players will be resolved. However, I think that could also be a stumbling block. Say they don't get that matter resolved. By all shock horror, they don't get it sorted. Then what? Then maybe that deal falls through. Liverpool sweep back in like superheroes. Jurgen Klopp with his pants over his trousers. Nah. Klopp man is here. You never know. Could happen. It could happen. Someone mentioned the Chiesa thing earlier. I didn't realize that Fabrizio has also commented on Christian Falk's tweet saying untouchable. I agree. I think he's talking about the deal. There we go. Right, next on the show, we're gonna go to next. We're gonna go to Matthew next. Matthew's here with us. Welcome back to the terrace. What you saying, mate?
Yeah, don't worry, I'm not married, so it's fine. All I'm going to say, Varane looks good. I don't reckon any news will come till the end of the month. He's still on holiday. When he gets back, I reckon things will start spiraling towards good news, hopefully. What's happening with this CAMAVINGA? I'm assuming it's PSG related, where he's looking at moving to PSG.
So the player wants to... The player's primary want right now is to remain in France. Secondary to that is him looking at potentially moving to Barca or Real Madrid. So we're kind of third on his list, which is fair, which is fine. But also, he's not top of our list either. So you're in this situation where there's a lot of excitement, but in reality, it's a long way off because we're sort of like, have you ever, I don't know, you're a bit younger than me. I've got someone lined up that we've both said if we're both 50 and single, we'll get married, right? That's kind of what this deal is right now. We don't want to go old together. If everything else falls through, maybe we'll look at each other. So yeah, I just feel that I just don't think it's going to go through this summer.
Do you know, is it Declan Rice we're looking at, or is it a Neves or a Platoon?
Neves is a player that Man United have looked at. Man United have made inquiries into Declan Rice. This is an absolute certainty. One of the things that Man United tried to do with Declan Rice, they were trying to ascertain whether or not he would be willing, essentially, to move to outside of London, which his representatives has confirmed he would. But Chelsea lead that race massively. And what's believed by most people is if Man United put a bid in that accepted, they would then just sweep in and say, well, we're not going to allow that to happen, if that makes sense. So yeah, look, Man United are looking at options right now. Neves seems the most likely. If we're going to buy a midfielder, Neves is more attainable, more achievable, a bit older, more experienced. I think the Camavinga, if Camavinga's like, oh, I really would like to stay in Spain for a few more, France for a few more years. That's also quite off-putting for a buying club.
Yeah.
Like saying I'm not ready to leave home yet, which is fair. Like he's 18 years old. He's a baby. You know, you don't want a Renato Sanchez on your hands. So interestingly with Rice, you know, no one quite knows yet if Rice is going to push for a move away. Big money as well to sign Rice, £200,000 a week he wants in salary as well. So it's going to be an interesting one.
Are we only looking at free signings then, or is that a right back coming in, or is that going to be a Delos?
Yeah, I mean, what I've read across multiple areas plus sort of conversations I've had is Varane, Sancho's happen, Varane should happen, and then it's looking at one more marquee proper sign. You may then see a backup right back come in and some sort of more fringe type players, but at least 3 main signings this summer should happen for Manchester United.
So you're looking at perhaps Ruben and I don't know, a Max Aarons, for example.
Yeah, you could have someone like a Max Aarons come in or something along those lines, no doubt. Listen, Matt, great call. Thank you very much for coming on, mate, and having your say. Really appreciate it, bro. Thank you very much indeed. Next on the show, we're going to go to Kirsty, who's here. Kirsty, what are you saying? Hi, Kirsty.
I think Man United, like Southgate gets sacked. I think it's really good.
Sorry, say that again, please.
I think a Southgate, an England manager, is really good.
Yeah, Southgate done a brilliant job this summer, didn't he? Southgate, absolutely. Do you want to see him manage at the next World Cup?
I hope so, yeah.
Yeah, I think a lot of us do, absolutely, and hopefully he'll be there and he'll have the opportunity to continue to take us forward. Absolutely, Kirsty, absolutely. Hello, hello. We're really struggling. Try calling back. We're really struggling with your connection. Oh, she's gone now. Thank you, Kirsty, for your call. Let's go next to Glenn. Glenn is a Tottenham fan. Welcome back to the Terrace. What do you want to say, mate?
What is going on, Terry? Yeah,
I'm good. What do you make of the Kounde situation today?
To be honest with you, not surprised. In my mind, I did have my doubts anyway. I was thinking, you know, there was a bunch of reasons where I was like, is he going to want to come with like no UCL? Do you know what I mean? Like, yeah, we've got European competition, but we ain't got that kind of European competition. Do you know what I mean? So yeah, you're getting PL, but it's like if you just wait a little bit, maybe even an extra season, you might end up getting yourself like a, you know, maybe a Chelsea, maybe a Man U, or really Real Madrid. I know Real Madrid are in financial trouble, so that kind of works in our favor. You guys also getting Varane is also in our favor. But even then, it's like maybe if you do wait a little bit longer, you might get yourself, you know, a different club and someone a bit more favorable. My thing is, I'm just hoping this is sort of Paratici at work, because the last time we talked, you know, you did say like Paratici is just one of the best at his job. And this guy is sort of known for having a bunch of candidates like at once, right? Negotiating with a bunch of different guys at once. So I'm hoping this is, you know, a bit of a smoke screen. Like, not to say that we didn't want Kounde, because that would be a lie, but my eyes are still on Skriniar. And I know, like, what, into 100 million debt, and, you know, they've made some sales and they've, you know, made some money, but they still need to make more. And I'm hoping that Skriniar can still be on our radar and actually end up at Spurs. Because I personally prefer him a bit more than Kounde. I understand that Kounde is a talent, but I do like my sort of defenders, you know, that I think Skriniar is at the right type of age, if you ask me. He's in his prime. He's a bit more of a leader. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, mate, I hear you on that. Like, the thing with Jules Kounde is signing like that's always listen. All signings from abroad,
it's a risk, isn't it?
Yeah, do you know what it is? All signings are a risk. Is less of a risk when they're played and been successful in the Prem before. There's less of a risk. It's slightly higher risk if they're more experienced, say Varane age, but not played in the Prem. There's an even higher risk if they've never played in the Prem and they're young and they're inexperienced and they're still learning. So it's about mitigating that. I think Skriniar's still a risk for that same reason, but a little bit older, longer in the tooth, and more experience. So, yeah, I mean, I think he's a decent enough player. I just think with the Kounde thing, it was when I heard about it, I just thought my first thought was he's got so many other big teams that are looking at him. I could never imagine him right now off the bat joining Spurs, and I kind of mean that with respect as well, you know.
Well, you know, like it's like I was saying before, right? There are a bunch of different sort of circumstances happening, right? I mean, if it wasn't for the whole like Varane thing, Real Madrid, like with how they are financially and everything else, I mean, what, like how many CVs have Chelsea got right now? Like they need to sell, right? They can't just be taking on Kounde like that and just have another one on the payroll, like even if it's like a fantastic player. So, like, there's a few things sort of working in our favor. I didn't think it was like super unrealistic. I did think like no proper European competition is why I'll be like, is this as believable? Not too sure. I mean, and not to mention we've also got what, like Anderson linked, Vestergaard linked, Lacroix. You know, there's a bunch of different names. So it's like I'm sort of putting it in the pile as opposed to thinking, yeah, this is absolutely happening. But I will say, if nothing else, even though the sort of tier one sources are all quite conflicting, I do like the sort of direction that we're going. And I do hope that, you know, this is just Paratici sort of trying to work and Levy letting him work. Do you know what I mean? Because the idea of us getting rid of Sanchez was music to my ears. So I think it definitely clouded my like sort of belief in it. Like I definitely believed a lot more than I normally would, just because I was like, oh my God, we're actually getting rid of Sanchez. I can't believe it. Like, you know what I mean?
And listen, we've always got to remember PR's then at play. If Spurs do get rejected, they'll be out. No, this wasn't real. But there's a super chat here from 1975 Jamrock that says Sal's camp called the LFC rumors interest nonsense. Well, if they're about to join Barcelona, they're also going to do that, because the last thing Saul Niguez wants flying around when he joins is that he was lifting, you know, showing his leg off to a number of clubs at the same time. It's just the way it works. And I think the only player right now in world football with a potential move that can't pretend he isn't trying to go to multiple clubs is Haaland, because his team did a European tour to try and get into a new club. But it's just the way it goes. Like when a player's looking to leave a club, you know, they always do the interviews around, I love this football club. When I start hearing a player overly big up the club that he's at, I'm like, nah, you're looking to leave, aren't you? Because then you can say, well, I did that interview, I told her I didn't want to leave. And then if you leave, it's like, I go with a heavy heart. I go feeling sad but loved. It's like, listen, man, I've been watching football all these years. I've been on the social media scene for 7 or 8 years now, heavily into it for the last 2 or 3. And honestly, when you see and hear the same things year after year after year for different circumstances, you see the patterns. And it's like learning to read the Matrix. Just one day you wake up, like, that's what's being said now. I see you. You know, it just is what it is. Even half the people that tweet about transfers write the same stuff about every transfer. Like it's almost like they have a blanket tweet for every stage a transfer could be at. And they copy and paste the same thing. And it's like everything becomes so generic now. It is unbelievable. I get titles have to be kind of generic because there's only so many things you can say. But the actual content, like I was watching a stream the other day, someone was talking, and every answer he gave was like 15 seconds long, and he pretty much said the same thing. I was like, the fuck is that, bro? How is that even news? Like, I was just like reading the live stream off of the Evening Standard, bruv. That's all I saw. I was like, what are you doing, G? Like, where's the opinions gone that you used to give 5 years ago when I loved you?
Bro, it's why Tottenham are interested FC as well, though, isn't it? Because it's like every time you see the headline, it's like Tottenham are interested in, Tottenham I'm like looking into, Tottenham are making a move for, and then all of a sudden it's like, yeah, it was like it never existed, right? Super frustrating. I can't lie. As a Spurs fan, super frustrating. Especially when you get like particular targets that you're really interested in, like Marcel Sabitzer, Lars Skriniar, you know, all of those types of ones. Danny Ings as well a few years back, you know, all of those. But it's something we have to deal with, I guess, isn't it? It's either you tune it all out and you wait until the season starts, or you just sort of, you know, go with the flow.
Well, it's a bit like Chelsea today. I've been sitting and thinking about Chelsea putting a bid in for Chiesa. Maybe that's a ploy. You know, well, okay, Dortmund, you know, we're not going to bid 150, but we'll go elsewhere if you don't come in. We're not overtly desperate for him. Test waters, see what reactions are like. You don't always, by the way, these things don't always work. You might do it in Dortmund and go, we don't care. Dortmund might come around and be like, oh shit. Behind the seat. Like all these things are a game, man. That's why I love the transfer window. It's fun. It's legitimately fun. But people, you know, I always think it's great as well. When I see like when their sources say when a source says a deal's nearly getting done, everyone's like, oh, amazing. When that same source comes out a week later and says, oh, do you know what? It's fallen through because of this reason and that reason. They go, nah, I'm waiting for the tier ones that are close to my club to tell me what really happened. I ain't listening to you. You're willing to listen to them when it was positive, but when it's negative, you want to play it down. It's a madness, bro. It's a legit madness. Listen, mate, great call. Appreciate you coming on, having a day. Top man, speak to you again. Thank you. Donny James coming next on the terrace, but make sure that how comes we're only on 330 likes? Come on, I know it isn't positive news today. And I know it's when it's positive news, I'm hitting the like button, but it's not about that. It's about supporting the terrace, and you're all here for the terrace. Even Franklin that's still here with the negative. Franklin, my brother, would you like me to make you a moderator? Are you looking for my attention, Franklin? I'll make you a moderator. We'll share numbers. I'll give you a phone call later as well. We can have a chat, Frank. Frankie boy. Let me be Frank. What are you saying? What are you saying, Frankie boy? You want to come on the air? Do you want it, Frank? Do you need some tender, loving care? Do you need some attention, Frank? Do you know Jamal, Tottenham fan, long-time viewer of the Football Terrace? I'll make you a mod. Trust you. I trust you, G. So I'm going to make you a mod. Someone's here says, is Tillemans off? No. Tillemans isn't odd. Jamal, the Spurs fan. I think you're the first Spurs fan. There we go. Ali here says Kendall's boyfriend incoming. Right. Terry, yeah, do you want some Terry's loving care? I like that. Tender Terry love. Okay, I like that one as well. Frank. Betty. Frank's the kids ain't gonna know who Frank Spencer is, bruv. They can't done a whoopsie, Betty. I'm just spitting facts, bruv. You ain't chatting like that for us. Honestly, I'm just spitting facts, bruv. You're about as street as Prince William, bruv. Do you know what I'm saying? I bet if you come on, you don't. I just know you ain't gonna be from the road, brother. You ain't gonna be from a council estate. You ain't gonna be from an urban area of the country. Like, you're just not, brother. I know it. You'll come on. I know you've got an emoji. Is that an emoji of like a Grand Theft Auto character? I bet you're not. I bet you're from somewhere like South Wales or Cumbria. Do you know what I mean? Cornwall. You know what I mean? Do you know? I know it, bruv. I bet you there isn't a fried chicken shop barring a KFC within 10 miles of your house. I'm only messing, man. I'm only messing, brother. I'm only messing with you. It's good banter. It's good banter, and I can take it. It's literally Frank Spencer's the only impression that I can do. It's the only one that I can do. My dad actually appeared with Michael Crawford on Noel's house party in the 90s when my dad was sort of at the peak of his powers in comedy. Yeah, he was on there. And they like to do impressions, and that's why I kind of learned to do it because, yeah, it was great. And I think one of the lines that was put to my dad was, I think Noel Esmond said, I need you to be frank. And my dad's line was, and I'm going to try and do it, I'm not as good. It was like, that depends on what Frank you want me to be. It was funny. And then he did like a Bruno, and then he did like a Frank Butcher, because they were the three most famous Franks at the time. There we go. Anyway, let's jump on to the next call. Donny James is here. What you saying, mate?
It's been all right today, to be fair. Just finished filming for the day. I thought I'd come on and call in just to relax for the evening. So, yeah, all good.
Yeah. So, yeah, what do you want to say about these deals, though, brother? That's the most important bit.
Wow. Saul off. to be honest with you, Liverpool are being owned by one of the owners that were back in this Super League thing. So I'm not actually surprised that Liverpool have actually screwed up a big deal. But, you know, they get the shirt sales from the current players, so we'll see what happens. But actually, no, I think that it's interesting how Barcelona has been mentioned, especially since all the crippling debts they've been up, all the crippling debts they've been under, and the sort of financial strain that Barcelona has been under. So, I mean, I've been hearing some stuff about, we can all take it, about Messi's new contract until 2026. There's been some talk about that being confirmed sort of later in the next couple of weeks. So we'll see what happens with that. So, I mean, and apparently it's 50% off the wages. So I'm a bit surprised that Saul might be going to Barcelona with the sort of financial strains they've been under. But in terms of a footballing sense, that's a good signing for Barcelona, a good addition to that midfield. You know, extra quality gives them a better chance of winning the La Liga title, maybe push them up another round in the Champions League. We'll see what happens with that. On Kounde, I never thought he was going to Tottenham, to be honest. I never thought he was going to be a Tottenham player. Discussions were never on about that, to be perfectly honest. So I think that Kounde to Tottenham was never going to be a thing. I think Tottenham's a little bit below Kounde. We're being completely and brutally honest here. Sorry, Tottenham fans, but I think that Daniel Levy's just pushed your club from Europa League to mid-table over the summer, and I think that Levy's he's just pushing the stands of the club way too low. Look at Arsenal. By the way, Arsenal, sorry about your pre-season loss, but I thought it was funny as anything that Matt Smith won and you guys didn't. But I think that Kounde could go somewhere else, whether that be a Premier League club or somewhere in Europe. Who knows? But I don't think Tottenham was really on the cards. Maybe Real Madrid could go in for him. Who knows? It depends on their sort of letting go of Varane. Speaking of Varane, that's perfect for United. I mean, I've been hearing reports that the United are growing even more confident they're going to sign Raphael Varane. So should be interesting to see what happens with that. And I think that adding Varane to that defence will automatically push United from second place squad to all he needs to win the Premier League to at least stand a chance of being considered a successful season. But also you've got to look at the flip side where Sancho and Varane need to, you know, gel with the squad and things like that, and any other new players and the youth players that come through as well this season. So, you know, on the other hand of it, you've got to gel. So I think if United finish second, but only like 2 or 3 points behind the champions, well, the Premier League champions that would be, then it wouldn't be a bad season if it was finishing 8 points or 10 points behind first place. I think if you finish second, but finish 2 or 3 points at least below first place, then that's still a successful season. But if you go for the title and win it, that's considered a successful season. But it wouldn't be a crime if you finished a couple of points off first place. But yeah, very interesting deals, man. Big up yourself, big up the Terrace. Obviously, guys, make sure you subscribe to the Terrace. We're on the road to 200,000 subscribers, which is unbelievable. Verified tick on YouTube as well. So make sure you go and congratulate all the panelists on the Football Terrace. And we'll see what happens. We've got a friendly on the 17th against Bradford. We'll see what happens with that. But we'll see. We'll see what happens. So I'm looking forward to it.
Top man. Listen, look after yourself, mate. Speak to you again soon. Cheers, buddy. Interesting update here from John Percy in relation to Youri Tielemans. It says Leicester will continue contract talks with Youri Tielemans on his return from holiday after Belgium's campaign. Tielemans is not a target for Liverpool this summer, will be a huge fee, and Liverpool are likely to recruit outside the Premier League. That marries up a lot with, you know, everyone's sources are slightly different on these situations, but that marries up very much with what, of course, was said this morning on the show, but yesterday afternoon when we recorded it by Pete O'Rourke, where he just said that Liverpool, Tielemans is on Liverpool's list, but he's too expensive. They're going to be, I think his actual words were, they'll be priced out of it. You've now got John Percy, very credible journalist from The Telegraph, stating that he's going to be priced out of it. That doesn't surprise me. If Saul Niguez is too expensive, because you got to remember, transfer fee, net spend, BS, don't believe any of it. If the package for Saul Niguez at around 90 million over a four-year period is too expensive, spending an extra 10 million more in terms of transfer fee and salary on Youri Tielemans is also going to be more expensive. Is also going to be too expensive. He's already on £120,000 a week. If one of the best teams in the world, one of the best managers in the world, wants me to replace their Premier League and Champions League winning midfielder in Gino Wijnaldum, they offered big money to stay, I'd be asking for 200 grand a week as well, which is not too dissimilar from what Saul Niguez wants. I think Liverpool have got to understand something, though. The FSG model works when you're on the way up. When you've reached the top, when you're signing sponsorship deals that are groundbreaking and innovative, people ask for more money. According to John Percy, that deal is now not looking like it's going to happen. We'll see how that kind of progresses in days to come forward. We actually have a clip being released in like the next 5 minutes on our social media accounts in relation to that. Maybe I'll play. Actually, so I'll play it for you. I'll play it for you all. Actually, let me go. Let me share this. It's only a snippet from the show last night because it's ready to go. But I'll play it to you, the audience here. You're my people. This is what was said yesterday by Peter O'Rourke. This is the one. Yes, this here is it. This should then just.
Brokers would agree a deal with the Dutchman, but obviously it wasn't to be, and he's moved on. I think Youri Tielemans is definitely on Jurgen Klopp's wish list. If he was to sign a player, he would take no adaptation to the Premier League. He knows the league inside out now from his time at Leicester. He's proven himself to be a top operator also in the Premier League. So for Liverpool, he sort of ticks all the boxes for what they are looking for right now. We all know he's been a great addition for Brendan Rodgers' side. Again, figured for Belgium at the Euros. And Liverpool, I'm guessing, are getting indications from Tielemans' camp that he would be very much interested in a move to Anfield if something can be agreed. But again, a bit like the Maddison deal, I think this is going to be a huge sum to try and lure Youri Tielemans away from the King Power Stadium. Leicester, a very well-run club. I don't think they're in any real need or rush to sell any of their star players. They've been quite busy in the transfer market themselves, bringing in Daka and Soumare, who are two young, highly rated players with lots of potential. So Brendan Rodgers trying to build something at the King Power right now, and I don't think he would really entertain any offers for Youri Tielemans, despite the player maybe holding out that Liverpool could come in for him. So I think Liverpool, they could be priced out of a move for Tielemans right now. So I don't see this one.
And that's what was said yesterday and released this morning. So listen, I totally get like the likes of Percy, but that was from the Terrace Done Deal show that was out this morning. If you haven't seen it already, get yourself. What are you doing? Go sort yourselves out. You've got to be watching the Done Deal show. It's not hyperbolic. It isn't exaggerated stories. You know, I'm obviously a YouTuber. I present the stories to the guys, and they go, "What?" I'll tell you how the show works. They bring me stories, but also I go to them with all the transfer stories that are trending that you guys want to speak about, and they go and do if they don't know about it, they go and do the research on it. They reach out to camps. So with the Saul Niguez deal, Peter O'Rourke literally went and phoned people that he knew that represented Saul Niguez to find out what was going on or to get us information. That's what they do for us. So the information we get is exclusive because that's the deal that we have with these individuals. So that was exclusive yesterday. Now it appears everybody else is running with it. No credit to the terrorists. I even saw it yesterday that Dean Jones did another thing somewhere else, spoke about City increasing their interest and By the afternoon, like loads of other big outlets were talking about it. And I'm like, yo, where's the flowers for Dean here, bro? Like, where's Dean's flowers? Frustrates the living daylights out of me. Strangely, it doesn't frustrate them. They're kind of cool with it. I'm like, I wouldn't be. I wouldn't be, but there we go. Terry, you should sell mods for £5. I can't do that. Jesus Christ. Done deal show of a bacon sarnie and a coffee. Yeah, that's nice. Gonna get another Liverpool fan on the show here. Man like Mohammed is with us now. What you saying, mate?
Hello, Terry. How are you?
Yeah, I'm very, very, very well. What you here to say, buddy?
Yeah, to be fair, I'm not really surprised that Liverpool backed out of the Saul Niguez deal. We've clearly got a track record of doing things like this. But I really think it's down to us being more interested in other transfer targets like Tielemans or Renato Sanchez, for example. That's why I think we've looked elsewhere. And then obviously FSG not wanting to spend the wages as well for him. So it's very frustrating, yes, but I'm sure we'll get someone else probably for cheaper, knowing how FSG are. But personally, I think Tielemans is would be better to get than Saul Niguez because he's got that Premier League experience. Yes, Saul Niguez has got Champions League experience.
Yeah, and I totally get that. I think that's fair. It just appears right now like Leicester are just not going to entertain that at all. Like Leicester are not going to allow that to even become a thing in many ways. And I think that would be the frustrating bit for me if I was a Liverpool fan right now, is that your targets just appear to be almost completely and utterly unattainable. But we'll see what happens there. Mohammed, thanks very much for coming on, mate, and having your say. Really appreciate that, bro. Thank you. Next up on the terrace, man like Sunshine is here. How's it going, bro?
Hey, what's good, my guy, man? How you getting on?
Good. You? Yeah, mate. Can't complain. It's nice and warm. But I was actually went bowling with the kids earlier, which was good. They both beat me, but they had the ramp and the barriers up. Do you know what I mean? So,
you know what it is. I work with young people, yeah, and obviously kids are hella competitive. You know, if they beat me, yeah, do you know what I say? And it's dead easy. He literally just say to me, he said, "Are you happy that you won?" They say yes. He said, "What's my job? I'm a mentor. Yeah, that's me doing my job, so I win. So if you're happy, I win." They hate it. They feel like they've lost. That means you feel like a winner. So just try it. Just say, "I'm your dad."
Yeah.
Ultimately, do you know what I mean? Like, I made you happy. That's my role in your life. It'll work. Trust me. The psychology's there.
That's a good way of looking at it. But no, aside from that, mate, all good, mate. Great day. Transfer window, I love. What are you here to speak about, bro?
It's not United for once. Obviously, United is United, as we know. I know we got Sancho. It's all great. My feelings on Marshall. Last time we spoke, I prefer him on the left anyway. Looks like that's going to be the case moving forward with Rashford being out, meaning he may stay. So I love that. But Barcelona, man, like I was reading somewhere, and I don't know if it's the Barca fans who watched the terrace, but I was reading about their wage cap and them being in trouble with financial fair play. And at one stage, it was a case of Messi won't be able to renew a contract, and they wouldn't be able to register their new players until the wage bill was down or something like that. It seems to be that Barcelona are able to sign Messi's new contract and they are able to register their new team. So I didn't know what was actually going on with that. If you'd heard anything or just something off the cusp. I don't know what you're saying on that.
It's an interesting one for me because I don't trust the authorities, mate. in any walk of life, let alone football. Whenever a big club gets they can't register a player, they've got a transfer ban or whatnot, you never see it. You very rarely see it come to fruition. The fact that Chelsea had a one window ban in itself shocked me because I always felt as if they wouldn't even get that. I was actually shocked they had one summer or one window. It was only in a year. It was one window where they couldn't buy anybody.
Couldn't buy anyone, yeah.
There'll be a way of them getting around it. I was even reading about the Super League stuff. Did you see all the news that came out of Spain yesterday that all the certain courts in Spain have been backed by some of the higher courts in Europe that if UEFA tried to take action against the remaining Super League teams, like the Real Madrids, that would then be deemed illegal and they couldn't now do it. So it's almost got to a point where what I basically read, and again, I'm not legally trained, so I don't understand it all to its fruition, but what it read like to a layman like me is, UEFA can't do anything to the Super League teams anyway. Of course, if they left UEFA's things, they couldn't have been in the Champions League, but they now can't do anything. They can't sanction them. They can't punish them. They can't hit them with any kind of major fines additional to what's already been done. And it's like, what's the point of your rules? And look at FFP when everyone broke the FFP stuff with City. It was time. It was all time barred. It all just feels like to me like Barcelona there'll be a way around it. There'll be a way out of it. There'll be a loophole they can get through, which is why they're still looking at all these players. So I've just not taken it
literally
seriously. Yeah, it just doesn't feel like it's worthwhile.
I hear that.
Yeah, do you know what I mean?
Fair. Yeah, it just sparked the curiosity, and I think I was just wondering because obviously I knew what you rightly mentioned about Manchester City. I know the stupidness that was happening there. I'm thinking, how have they got out of that? I mean, you don't need to be a rocket scientist to probably think how, but it just seemed that the governing bodies of football were kind of losing a lot of, well, not even a lot of respect, extra respect had been lost based on what was happening. If Barca do get away with this, however they get away with it, then it's going to be a madness. But I want to finish on Haaland. I know Haaland's going to go to Chelsea as it looks at this moment in time. However, if if Dortmund are as stubborn with Haaland as they were Sancho last season, 100%, I've got no doubt in my mind that Haaland will choose United next season if Chelsea don't get it, for obvious reasons. Regarding one, Cavani will be definitely in his last legs. He'll probably be playing 5 games. He'll be in Mata's role. Greenwood probably still won't be there or thereabouts. Sancho has had his first season. If we do get Varane, teams looking like we're going to go places with or without Ollie in that respect. So Haaland, if he doesn't go to Chelsea, which is looking likely at the moment, if he doesn't, should we get excited for Haaland, especially if we have a successful window and Murtough and Fletcher have shown that they can pull rank?
Yeah, do you know what? I think that's one of the reasons why I think Chelsea are working so hard to get this deal done now. They're not stupid. One of the biggest things that was the Haaland camp wanted was what they consider a legacy club. And I know Chelsea fans won't like hearing it, but through people I've spoken to, Barca, Real Madrid fit into that mold. Bayern Munich fit into that mold. Liverpool and Man United fit into that mold. And I think people can understand why those clubs are looked at as legacy clubs over the best clubs that are available right now. It was almost, he wants to do it there. Now, what's great for Chelsea is that their improvement under Tuchel and winning the Champions League has changed Haaland's mind. He's now looking again, actually, that's a really good place to be at as well. That's why he's considering it at this point. However, would Chelsea stand as good a chance next summer if all those clubs were vying for him and offering him the same deal? They stand a chance, but of course diminishes because you've got other teams that who knows where we're all going to be in 12 months' time. This is the thing. You know what football's like.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure Chelsea are going to have a very good season. But anyone who's ever watched football knows that it doesn't always work out like that. Do you know what I mean? It could always go back. Liverpool did a lot worse last year than people expected. 2 years ago, City were back-to-back champions, 100 points and 98 points, and then they lost more games in a season than Manchester United under Ollie. You know, Man United, they could go from strength to strength. Barca could look scintillating next year, and that changes his mind. So I think that's why Chelsea really want to push forward with this deal and get it over the line, because if they get him now, he's theirs. And even if in 3 or 4 years he wants to leave, it's going to cost somebody 250 million pounds. And next summer, if he doesn't go this year, next summer, honestly, the Haaland chase next summer would be. I'd rather not be one of the clubs in for him, because then you could enjoy it. Do you get where I'm coming from?
Yeah. I hear that, Psyche. I think it's quite a nice thought to have, because let's be honest, if we get the centre back CDM sorted, I think Ollie's definitely going to look at Haaland and go, we're not really going to buy it in any more areas. We just really want that main striker, because I can't see any other area needs improving. Maybe one more DM if Garner's good enough. That's another topic. But centre back's covered, full back's going to be covered. Striker's the only other option that we kind of need for a stronger squad. The next season will be very, very good. And I'm going to finish on this, bro, because I know you probably got other callers. That Mino Raiola was potentially asking for 40 million. So is that on top of the Haaland deal currently? So what's that, like 100? Yeah, 190.
No one really knows. I have a sneaky feeling it's part of the deal. That's what happened. That's exactly what happened with the Juve thing. It wouldn't surprise me again. Wait for the wood for the trees. It wouldn't surprise me if, when all the dust settles after he's sold, if there wasn't an agreement where, if he was sold outside of the buyout clause, if he's sold for 150 million, then a big percentage of that goes to Mino Raiola. I think if he's sold for the release clause, I think the buying club may end up having to pay a big fee to him. That's my feeling. No, the problem is no one really knows, because that kind of information, although you have some very informed journalists, that type of information is kept so hush-hush. The agents hate it getting out, the players hate it getting out, and the clubs don't feel embarrassed. You know, what a lot of people didn't realize about the Juve deal, and the only reason this was exposed is because it got investigated and it became public information, was of the 89 million pound Man United paid directly to Juve for Pogba, 40 million of it got given to Mino Raiola as a fee. So, but that's why Juve got, so you know, like when everyone's saying Pogba didn't want to deal with Mino Raiola, because Mino Raiola is that kind of guy. So Mino Raiola told Juve, I can get you Pogba to come here, but when you sell him on, I want 40%, I don't know, whatever it was, 35, 40% of the transfer fee.
Yeah.
That's the kind of things he does for people, which is why I think that's why I think a lot of the big clubs avoided Haaland 18 months ago, because that first deal was always going to have some agreements in it, which meant Haaland was going to leave for lower money, or a big percentage of the transfer fee was going to go to somebody else. And I think that's what they've got to weigh up, you know, as a football club, what's best for them to go and do. But it's certainly going to be an intriguing one. And a few people have put in the comments, actually, that's on Fabrizio streamed right now. Jan Fiosov has confirmed that there is no agreement between Haaland and Chelsea. And like I said to a lot of people on that, I respect Jan Fiortov. He doesn't chat nonsense, and he's actually speaking the cast iron truth. There is no official agreement between Chelsea and Haaland, but personal terms are not a problem. It means the same thing. I really want football fans to start living in reality and be like, yes, there's no, like, if you said, I'd love to come up for the terrace, and I said, okay, this is the job, this is how much it pays, and you'd be like, yeah, I'd accept that. You work with me, great. We've agreed the terms. I haven't sent you the contract, you haven't signed it, but we've agreed. But it's, you know, but then do you get where I'm coming from? It's people get so hot, like hepped up now on, yeah, but what does it actually mean? Officially, you don't agree personal terms until after the clubs agree a fee. The clubs don't agree a fee until they're 100% sure that a player is going to join them. So it's become a two. And the reason that clubs are more relaxed now about people approaching their players is that they all have to do it, because the PR element is so important. Look at Liverpool today. They're going to try and play down the Saul Niguez situation. Spurs, straight out the traps. No, we didn't put an official bid in for Kounde. We weren't rejected. You know, it wasn't even that serious. So for me, I'll tell Chelsea fans this. I don't really care what you believe, but just know that Haaland would join Chelsea. Like, if we just boil it down to that, like, if you get a bid accepted by Dortmund, Haaland isn't saying no to Chelsea. So like, it just becomes boring in the end. It's like everyone's fighting over what sentence or what word is the right one to use. I'm like, do you know what? Drop me out, bro. Like, that's too much.
Yeah, you know, I hear that.
It's just semantics. It's just semantics over and over again.
I hear that, King.
Super chat here says, why are Liverpool fans crying over foul transfers? They have the great Jones and Elliott to fill the void of Genie and another attacker. Yeah, I mean, obviously a bit of banter there from Michael, but there we go.
That's a madness, though. That is a madness. Like, I think with Liverpool, we've got to understand this, especially, I mean, I'm a United fan, so I don't give a crap about Liverpool, respectfully. Well, I mean, not half respect, but Liverpool, they very rarely come out and chat their business. So I've seen over the years, and then they may pop up and surprise you with one or two transfers. Like Fabinho was kind of a pop-up transfer. Like, where the hell's that come from? Firmino, another. I know they were looking at him for a while, but it just happened. Jota was another one. Like, so I think Liverpool fans just need to chill out, man. Like, they know how their club runs. They know they keep everything hush hush, and let's be honest, they're going to build. They're going to add to their squad. So when it happens, it happens. And you got to trust Klopp that whether it's a big name or not, Klopp knows what type of players he wants, and he also understands that they're coming in to fit the system that Klopp loves. So no matter if you know of that player or not, you've got to be happy with whoever he brings in. There's only Keita, I think, is it Keita, who's had injury problems, who's been a bit of a no-show. But other than that, like, Liverpool recruit very well overall. So if I was a Liverpool fan, thankfully I'm not. But if I was, I won't be too bothered.
Hear you on that. Listen, brother, great to hear from you again, mate. And
love, man.
Again soon. Take care of yourself, buddy.
Right, Speaking bless, man.
Take care. Thank you. Yeah, and like I've said before, pre-agreement, personal terms are not a problem. Saying that via intermediaries, personal terms have been agreed, I don't really care of the semantics of it. They all mean the same thing in the end, you know. Bid accepted, done deal talks advanced to personal stages. They all mean the same thing. They all mean the same thing. And that's what, so Chelsea fans, don't get disheartened by it, is what I'm saying. Like, legitimately, don't get disheartened by it. By the way, I'm gonna put a tweet out live. I just watched it before I went live. Big up to Anita for her appearance on Good Morning Britain today. Absolutely exceptional, articulate, calm, educated, wonderful words spoken by the Football Terrace Queen. So just a massive congratulations for you. You're moving quick, and like I've always said, Anita won't be around on the terrace forever because she'll be hosting Sky Sports, BT Sports shows soon. on the BBC, leading. You'll all be like, I remember her when she was on the terrace, killing it. Absolutely, very, very proud of her for what that's worth. Very, very proud of her indeed. Amazing job, absolutely amazing job by her. And I will take all the credit for turning her into the person that she is in front of camera. It's all because of me and the terrace. It's a joke. See, that's sarcasm. No realness in it at all. No, she's amazing. That's why after her appearing a few times, we wanted to get her on board and doing bits and bobs here, because she's just sensational. And always knew that Anita would turn herself into this and open up doors and just kill it in the industry, because she is, as I say, smart and intelligent, but exceedingly hardworking and very knowledgeable and engaging. And I think that's the most important element of all those things. You can be all those other things. If you're not engaging, no one's listening. People listen when Anita speaks, and she deserves nothing but praise. And on top of that, all the flowers and the plaudits and credibility that's going to come with it. And off the back of that, hopefully a very solid and successful career. I wish, honestly, she's still here with the terrace, but like, she deserves absolutely everything that's coming her way professionally. She really, really does. So there we go. Everybody that's tuned in to the terrace today, do me a big favor and make sure you've hit that like button, you've hit that share button as well. We're back later on today with some more content for you, but until then, take care of yourselves. Goodbye, God bless, and we'll see